I just want to do a short introduction to well-being, because part of it is your total well-being. Today we'll be dealing with positive psychology, but your full well-being is what's important, and that is an aspect of not only a balance, but keeping ourselves stable. So for me, I have a little circle, and I have in my life, it's about dealing with the emotional aspects of how I feel each day and how I handle every situation, trying to stay positive on those things and not being over emotional and not being, you know, angry in certain ways, and just really just keeping myself in a really positive space. And in that, there's also my physical abilities. Now, obviously, I don't have the physical abilities that everybody else does. I don't share that very often. I cannot go for walks and exercise like most people, but my physical things are also got to do with the way I eat and how I look after myself and how I do some things to keep myself as active as I can physically. And for you as well, you might not have all of the abilities, and you might not be able to be one of those fitness type gurus, wonderful people that I look up and go, oh, I used to be good at that. But whatever you can do is the best you can be. And that is why keeping yourself in a positive space and pushing that out regularly is important, including the growth with your spirituality, and whether you have a religion or not, or no faith, you will have a level of spirituality that has a desire for the universe, for what you call Mother Nature, karma, however you see spirituality for you. For me, it's faith-based, but how that works for you, keeping it in balance with the other aspects of life, including your social aspects, your financial aspects. Just being able to pay the bills might be just enough. And if you're having struggles with that, how you get the help to be able to do that with government and other aspects of life, because we need to balance it and we need to keep ourselves not too far one way. So that's a really important part of trying to stay positive in all of the areas and our well-being. So now, as we move forward, we move into our ability to be able to look at things differently by not discouraging others who are continually making progress, no matter how slow. So our ability to not judge others by the way that we see them and we see things is extremely important, to actually believe that we've got all the answers. And research shows that positivity with emotions and our thinking is really what helps us to be the best us we can be, the best people we can be. And research also shows that there's a 3-to-1 ratio when we change our thoughts to become 3 positive to possibly 1 negative. That will dramatically change our lives. So if you get into a negative place, asking ourselves how important our positive thoughts are, and these are the ones that are very important to being able to adjust our thinking, because we need to keep that 3-to-1 ratio, because changing our thoughts and changing our to have positive emotions is extremely important to changing our lives. And no one can do that for us. We need to do it for ourselves. And pausing to capture those thoughts before speaking or acting is really important, because all the things that we do and don't do have consequences. And some of the good things and some of the bad things always will affect us, no matter what. So we need to address them with our thoughts. We need to really consider, in my view, that I look at things that are bad that happen to me every day and just put a positive thought back into it and decide how I'm going to handle that. The more positive that you are, the more good will come. I truly believe that. And intentionally taking the time to do things that help. So for me, it's watching comedy, songs, and other things to change my thinking to become positive, because with the negative things that are constantly upon us, having that 3-to-1 ratio is really important. It hasn't stopped me making mistakes, but it has stopped me making many mistakes. So hopefully that'll help you too. So we also need to work with learned optimism. It is learned. We cannot have positivity without learned optimism. We train our brains every day. Being optimistic on the issues that we are interested in can happen throughout our thought process and our day. And that will help us to increase engagement in solutions. It's important to increase that, increase our knowledge and our positive emotions on the ways that we want to engage in particular issues. Being negative on issues that are important to us is not going to make our lives or anyone else's better. So we need to have a really good learned optimism in these areas, how we engage, how we increase the meaning of our engagement with our emotions. We need to challenge our negative thoughts, and we need to also play to our strengths, just a bit like that well-being. We need to see our strengths, play to them. We need to count our blessings, and we need to seek meaning in each and everything that we do each day. So we also have to have a sense of significance and purpose, and that will help us make a difference in our lives and the lives of people that we want to influence. And asking ourselves what it is we're trying to achieve is really important, because everyone has different ways of doing that. Judging yourself against another is not a positive way, and it's not very helpful whatsoever. So knowing who we are and allowing ourselves to change for the better, to become your better, is really important. Change is going to happen in your life anyway. Change is going to happen in my life anyway. Some of the things I don't have control over, but I do have control over how I take it and how I look at it. So finding the meaning within your life is within you already. And it's there to be able to make a difference in your life and those that you want to influence around you. We do influence people around us every day just by being people. So if we do it in a negative way, then we won't have that positive outcome. So learning how to do that is really important and quite significant. So part of it is also to be able to overcome the negative, we need to also be able to overcome the traumas, because we all have traumas within our lives. We have post-traumatic growth that is needed, because each and every one of us has achieved some level of trauma. Some of us more than others, but none of it is to be justified or compared. We're not to compare our trauma with others. Each and every one of us has a different reason for feeling the way we do, and it is all significant. None of us are negated. We are all individuals, and trauma will come in different ways. Life is full of struggles, and it shouldn't be a huge surprise when trauma happens. I think part of the problem with society these days is we expect everything to just be the way we like, and it is becoming more and more clear that we are easily traumatized. We actually break easier. So if we can find a way to strengthen ourselves, to get that resilience, to not be surprised by traumas, it will help make us stronger and see things in a more positive way and how we can learn from them. And what form that takes in our lives and how it changes us is our decision. So it's really important. Some people will need to go through spiritual changes for that. We need to look at our personal strengths and personal weaknesses. We need to find a way to appreciate the life that we've got and find a way to be positive within it. Look at new possibilities and relate as much as we can to others. We are all affected, and we affect other people. So it's really important to be able to address these things and address these thoughts. This can alter us to be totally different to who we were created to be and who we are supposed to be. The trauma that we go through can affect us deeply and make us so broken that we don't even remember who we are supposed to be. But it is within each and every one of us that we already have that. And the first thing to do is actually just take some time with ourselves and actually say, who am I? Who do I want to be? And how do I become the me I'm supposed to be? And for me, the way I was able to find that was to write everything down. So writing it down was important to me. I've written 2 books. My most recent was called People Matter, about exploring our highest priorities with 4 different aspects: society, relationships, religions, and politics. And another one was with some healing that I needed, I actually had journals, because I wrote that book called Pretending to Be, because I was pretending to be someone that I weren't for 15 years. And it was quite a traumatic life, and overcoming that was really helpful. And when I think about it, I still get sad. I still get quite traumatized by it. I don't know whether you can see that on me now, because I don't like going back to those places, which is why I do look forward to the positivities, and I don't dwell on what has happened to me in my life in so many areas. So letting go is really important. And how to let go is to do with our emotions. And obviously, as I just suggested, some of my bad emotions get brought up when I think about some of my past. But I really do keep in front of me the feel-good emotions. It's keeping whatever you can that's positive in front of you is really important, no matter what trauma you've been through, and addressing those things through positivity is extremely important. And then from that, with the emotions, then I get into values. What is it am I here for? Why am I here? Why do I value myself? What do I value most about myself and the people around me and the life that I'm supposed to be living? Because it is a short life. So it's really important to know that changing my thinking was to positive emotions and to positive values was really important. And I have created and established my own top personal values of 5. And for me, it is contentment, courage, integrity, uniqueness, and helping society, because they're 5 things that are mostly important to me. So for you, it will be 5 totally different ones, but I encourage each and every person watching this to really look at the values of society and look at which ones are most important to you. For me, everything I do each day must achieve my 5 values, and otherwise it's no point in getting out of bed for me. So that's really important. So, and obviously then we work into values are individual. Our values are very individual. They're not universal, like I just explained. Expecting others to have the same values is a level of delusion. It's not about what other people value most. It's about what you value most, and being able to adapt around people that don't value the same thing as you most, and deciding what you do and don't want around your life. People often fail to consider the impact of their own values on the decisions that they've made. We all make decisions, and I think that it's really important to really state this, because the values that you have do impact the decisions that you make. So you need to be very careful on what you do each day, what you say, what you think, because it really has consequences. Consequences of our actions are often not considered until after it's happened. And then we're busy trying to clean up messes. So it's really important to be able to address that as we move forward through life. And obviously values are also got to do with faiths for some people. For some people, there are a lot of, they hold true to faith teachings. Now, faith teachings is something that I abide by and I love, but I don't go to the extremes of them. I don't hang on to something within what someone has taught me to believe that that is going to be part of who I'm supposed to be if it doesn't fit my 5 values first. And you know, faith has a way of sometimes teaching extremes, and then obviously it can be quite dangerous for society. So we need to be very careful that we expect everybody to think the way we do just because we have the same faith. I strongly work with all people of all faiths, and I truly believe that looking outside of ourselves and being able to be strong in who we are helps us to be better people in the whole of society, and realising that however other people think is not going to stop us from coexisting. We need to be able to coexist. All faiths can coexist side by side together with love. Love is not something that you just feel emotionally. You can actually have a love for people without being too connected to them. I love everybody, but in saying that, people use the love word in different ways. I am not in love with everybody. It's extremely difficult to have me in love with anybody, because that's a level of emotion that is, you are fully trusting of that person. And so in my family too, I love my children, but I am not emotionally adhered to them in a way that I would support everything that they're doing. It doesn't stop me loving them, but it also doesn't stop me trying to decide how they should live and what their values should be. And that's the same with pretty much everybody in this world. To be able to be in love with somebody, we need to have a trust and an emotional connection that we are open to being extremely vulnerable, and that is something that we can all have, but we need to be really careful on who we do that with. So our positive emotions can coexist, but we just need to make certain that they are not hijacked by extremism or negative thinking or words or deeds. So for me, I go to places to be able to keep myself in positive places. This is a photo of a sunset up at my up the country, a place I haven't been able to go for 6 months. So it's a very difficult time for all of us here in lockdown in Melbourne. If you're watching from somewhere else, we could be a bit jealous. And so so here in lockdown, I have not been able to go there for 6 months. But the way I stay positive with that is to be able to look at the photos and really just look at the weaknesses that I have and work on those things. So who I am is the first thing I need to look at every morning when I get out of bed. And then I need to learn the things I don't love about myself to adjust them and be the best me that I can love before I can love others. So it may sound selfish, but needing to love myself is really important to be the best I can be, because I have a purpose and you have a purpose. So love doesn't need to have those emotions attached, as I've said. And this is a poster. It's probably, you might be able to see it up behind me, but I really do like to share that with everyone around the world. When the whole world does learn to respect each other's differences, even when they don't understand them, is when we will live in harmony. Because I'm one of 10 children, and learning how to, and I'm a twin, and learning how to see that we are all very different, including my whole 9 brothers and sisters, is important. My dad used to say to me, don't worry about what your brothers and sisters are telling you what to do. Just go and do what you've got to do. And that was really helpful for me, and as the youngest of 10, and that has definitely held me in good stead right through my life. And I'm really, really grateful for that. So I also know that I need to bring it into my home. So in my home, I have this on my fridge. I only have things in my home that I know to be useful or believe to be beautiful. And I also have a little saying that was pulled out of, I think it was one of those crackers that you break. I'm lost anyway. And so my house is pretty much a reflection of who I am. I'm very fortunate that I've been able to do that. It never used to be like that because my kids have grown up and left home. And so I'm very fortunate that I don't have them turning my world upside down at the moment. I'm also very lonely with that because obviously I'm on my own, but that's a choice that I've made, and all positives have some possible negatives, but if we just stay focused on the positives with that 3-to-1 ratio, we will stay and be the best we can be, and that is pretty much what we need to focus on. So that is it's same with the gardens or whatever it is you do. Just have some things that make you feel and know that you are beautiful and that you reflect yourself in your home in different ways, and in your workplace as well. So on a personal message, I received this from one of my sisters recently on the 24th of August. It's a sister that I haven't seen. I'll read it to you. It says, "Hi Dorothy, for many years I have hated you for how you treated Dad. I realised I only had his version of events, but that hurt me deeply. I have no wish to feel anger at you any longer, as time has long passed, nor do I feel the wish to become mates. However, I do feel the need to forgive you and let go. May you have a long and prosperous life, sending blessings to you. So I got that while I was driving along, and very unexpectedly, I must say, and pulled over and thought, oh, what am I going to do now? Because I hadn't had a message for 50 years anyway. So I made a decision that I wanted to respond. Part of it is that I want to make certain we know of. We need to learn how to respond and not react. Now, in families and in relationships, it's easy to react. We try to justify the way we feel, the years, we try to explain ourselves to everybody. And for me, I've found through my life, with so many people in my life and so many things that I've done in my life, I've learned that reacting is not the same as responding. So I really hope that everybody can learn ways of responding as positively as possible to move along and to be able to deal with uncomfortable situations like that. And so I did respond and not react, I think. So my response was how I would do it. And my response was, as you can see, hi Leonie, your hatred was unfounded and information incorrect. People believe what they want without investigation. Your hatred was there from childhood. I have no ill feelings towards you and have shown you that over the many years. Your message of blessings is gratefully received, and I wish you peace and happiness with your family during your difficult time. Cheers, Dot. So obviously, just by looking at those messages, you will see that that's an uncomfortable situation that I recently had to deal with, but I get phone calls from people in the community. You know, one thing I've learned is people will like or dislike us, that's their choice. And how we handle that is about responding, not reacting. And sometimes it's by doing nothing, it's whatever it is you feel to do. And how we go about it, just staying positive in that space with ourselves and with people around us is what's going to make us and the world a better place. And so for that, it's really important. So yeah, I'm hoping that this has brought up around a lot of people, a lot of thoughts and a lot of questions. And I'm very good at getting uncomfortable in my life. I pretty much am an open book. And what I've got now in front of you is a sign that I've got up. It's at my home. It's as you enter my home. And for me, I wanted to put this up as the last one because it's at the entrance of my home, and the way that we see things needs to be paused. We need to stop and think about perceptions, because we all have perceptions. Looking at this, you may think it's Chinese calligraphy. Well, it's not. It is in English, and it says, love is kind, down one side, love is patient, down the other. And I had a lovely man at an event one day who showed me that, and we had spent a fair bit of time discussing things. He'd done a calligraphy book in Chinese calligraphy, and he very nicely gifted this to me, and I've got it at the entrance of my house. So I'm really grateful that people find a way to love me in different ways, and that is one of the things that I find really important about perceptions, and having it in my house and in my face is quite important to me. So lastly, we need to see what outcome are we looking for? Is it realistic? What is it that you're wanting to do to move yourself forward, and how you can be the best positive you can be? So as we can see by this lovely picture that I found, it was one of my favourite. It says, think different, but don't believe everything you think, because perceptions can be more damaging than whatever other people's truths may be. So I want to thank you all for being able to share this in today.